I always like to make sure I know who is logged on, and you could easily find out that information simply by going to your Windows PowerShell. So I can see I log in as an admin. I like to log in as an administrator so I could be able to show you some of the features that I want to show you. So I'll go over here and then kind of log out, sign out. And then I'm going to go as other user. In this case, I'm going to log in as an administrator. I have to PR LW0RD. Log on over there. And on this machine, which is already on the domain, you can log in as other user if you want as well. Okay. You can log in as admin. That's what you want to do. Over here, after PR LW0RD. And this is my certificate authority. And remember, the main exercise here is to show you how to install certificate authority. So I'm here. One of the things that is very important and you're going to find out later on in this class is we're going to be using certificate authority a lot for all sort of reasons. One major reason why we use certificate authority is to issue certificate for either authentication, for integrity, for privacy, and so on and so forth within our network. In this case, however, we're going to be issuing a lot of self-service certificates that we're going to use later on in the class. One of the main primary components of your private key infrastructure, as we will generally refer to it, is certificate authority. To set it up as a role on this machine, by the way, this machine is a member server. Okay, it's a member server on Perkins domain. I have this yellow icon here showing something automatically refresh. I don't know what that is, but let's ignore that one for now. The thing I want to install on this machine is to make it a certificate authority. Right now it's just a member server. It's got nothing on it, and you can tell it doesn't have anything on it much because you look at here, you know, this will tell you what roles a machine is playing, and this guy doesn't have much. He's on the domain quite alright, but beside that there's nothing else. I like to kind of like disable this. This is not necessarily part of a requirement for installing a certificate authority, but oftentimes I want to go to a site, and you know, if you have this option open for Internet Explorer, this guy may not let you go there quickly. So, you know, if you like, you can always turn it off. You don't have to, but just so you know, you have that as an option. Okay. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and add roles and features. And one thing you're going to notice really quickly is if the admin doesn't have administrative right on this domain controller, it will not be able to install this. Let me quickly show you something here. Because I'm logging onto the domain, I might want to find out here users and computers, which is where all the users on the domains are located, and find out this is the admin, and find out which member is this guy of. So I can see it's a domain user, it's an administrator, right? And this is a user. It's a domain user, but it's not a domain admin. You see that over here? So it's a standard user. This guy's going to have a problem making a lot of changes. You see what I'm saying? So one of the things I could do for this guy is I could come over here and make it a domain user. I'm just going to type DO. You can type the beginning of a letter and go to check names, and then it will try to help you complete it. So I can say it's a domain admins, and at least That will get this guy somewhere, at least for now. Now he's the domain admins. Anytime you have administrators group, it's referring to a local administrators group, not the domain admin. Okay? So now I've gotten this admins guy administrator on the domain. I can go back to Perkins here. Alright? And again, you can always find out who you are by simply typing on your PowerShell windows over here, who am I? Okay? And it's going to tell you who you are. Does that make any sense? Alright, so that's very, very important that you know that. The reason I said that is because sometimes not knowing what you can or cannot do may limit, you know, the effect of privilege you're going to have. One of the things I can also do here is I can log out, and I would definitely recommend that. I could log out here, sign out, and then sign back in, okay, as an administrator. I'm logging onto the Perkins domain, admin here, administrator. So I'm a domain admin. I gave this user more rights than it used to have before, and then when I log on now, it's got a little more privilege than it used to have before. Why do I do that? Because I need to go ahead and do some installation. Remember earlier when I clicked this on button, I wasn't getting any response because this guy is not an administrator on the domain. But now that when I click it, you can see it comes up, allowing me to disable some of these settings. That's very, very important. So I'm going to go over here on the dashboard, go ahead and add features and roles. And here, you can watch this video later if this is going a little fast. I'm going to go ahead and select these certificate services. This is what I need to set up to make this guy, you know, the certificate authority. I'm going to go ahead. This is checked by default. That's the only component I want to install right now. Later on we might get into this. Go to next and go ahead and install. And this is going to go ahead and do some installation. And once the installation is complete, then we can go ahead and configure this system. I'm going to pause my video. I'm going to go back here. So this is finished installation now. So I go back here and then I will be able to configure Active Directory, certificate services, and I can choose to install it using this, you know, or I can change it. If I want to change it, I just have to click change here, and I'm going to enter administrator capital P SSW0RD. That's the password. So then I have changed who is going to install these services, and I'll go over here, and this is the only services that I install, so that's the only one I can configure. And then I'll go to next. Because I'm on the domain, this server is on the domain, I make it to be Enterprise CA, not a standalone. Okay, Enterprise CA must be a member of the domain, and this guy is. Okay, standalone CA can be a member of a work group or a domain CA that doesn't require AD. But if I want to leverage my Active Directory, Enterprise CA is the better option to go for. Then of course I'm going to have root CA. The first CA you install is going to be your root CA, and then you can later on install some additional subordinate CA, you know, to manage so that you can protect this guy. So go over to the next one here. I'm going to create private keys, and I'm going to use RSA, you know, 2048 is pretty decent length, and I'm going to use SHA-256, pretty secured. And my lease is 5 years. The rest over here is just default, and I'm going to go ahead and configure, you know, my certificate authority. which takes just a couple seconds, and then you will know that now we have our certificate authority installed. It doesn't take a long time. So that's it. I have now configured certificate authority. As you can see over here now, this machine is my Active Directory certificate authority.